Hey, welcome to another episode of Pastor and Professor, and we're coming to you from Cedarburg, Wisconsin.
Exactly,
Right?
and we're still in a wonderful month, and hoping you're having a great month as we're coming to an end. And thank you for joining us at the start of a new year and being with us as we go step by step, still in Matthew.
Yep.
But we're making progress.
We are. We're kind of moving along.
Yeah, no. And
Sometimes a little slower, sometimes a little quicker.
But last time, we really moved. We must have done 8-9 verses.
We were overachievers. Yeah. Now people are going to expect this.
Oh, that would be that's their downfall.
That
Don't
would be a
worry.
mistake.
We can crush that expectation like
no,
a bug.
No, we're going right back to
Yeah.
what we were.
Yeah.
Slow.
But
Sure.
But we've got good stuff in a cautionary way. Last time it was essentially a negative that was a positive.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
It was a really good negative.
Stop worrying.
Yeah.
And we'll take, okay. You mean I can stop? Yes. Stop worrying.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have another negative. It's a little more of negative. Yeah. Now don't. And I mean it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's not good for you or anyone else.
Right. It's going to come back to bite you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we might call this the boomerang philosophy.
Yeah.
If you throw that, then you better start ducking because
Yeah.
it's coming back.
Grandma would say, what goes around?
Comes around. There you go.
You bet.
All right. All right. Well, why don't you take us through
Sure.
7, 1 to 6?
And again, it's chapter 7, and we're starting right at the beginning. Jesus says, "Judge not, that you may not be judged. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck that's in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, 'Oh, let me take the speck out of your eye,' when there is the log in your own eye? You hypocrite! First, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you."
What a striking ending. We were asking before we started.
Yeah.
What?
Why
But
did
maybe,
that come in there?
I don't know. Because under the heading of don't judge, we seem like we're pretty hard on those who
Yeah.
act as,
Yep.
the dogs. But anyway, maybe we should start with the clarity of verse 1 and such. Don't judge. And if you say, well, why not?
Yeah.
It's coming back
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
Unless you like that same measure,
Yep.
heap back
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. Which really comes into the forgive us our trespasses
Yeah.
in the same way that I would forgive someone else.
Yes.
This is a dangerous prayer.
Oh.
Heavenly Father, please use this as a template. The
Oh.
way I treat others, you treat me.
I don't think anybody wants that one.
I can't pray that.
No. I mean, we could.
I
but
could, but I don't know. Hey, let the standard of forgiving me be set by me
Oh, boy.
in the way I forgive
That's what I
other
get out of
people.
it. I don't think I dare to leave the house. I better just stay,
No.
hunker
Yeah.
down. Don't no.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's Dan? Oh, he's gone.
And if you have a family, stay in the basement.
I think so, right. Yeah, I'll just go to the workshop and nobody will know that
Yeah.
I'm there. Yeah. Don't judge lest you be judged.
Yep.
Because, or in other words, it's coming back
Right.
at you.
Right, right.
I've never actually thrown a boomerang, but that's the imagery here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I would think that, and I'm maybe just seeing on YouTube, you throw the thing, and I presume it seems like it's going away, and a fool then says, and that's what it did. And only,
And when he's not looking,
Bam.
right in the back of the head.
and isn't that about verses 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Because the way you throw it, and also I'm thinking the vigor with which you
Oh.
throw that boomerang is the vigor it returns to
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
If you did some little, if it's a paper airplane that happens to circle back, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But the measure, the vigor, the weight you put into this thing is the weight that's coming back. Now we're talking solid oak or
Yeah.
whatever you make a boomerang out of. I have no idea. Sorry, we didn't research this one very well, but
No.
the image is there.
No, it is.
Yeah.
So I was going to save this for later,
Okay.
but I'm going to throw it out now.
I
I
got
got
a whole boomerang thing.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
working on
yeah.
it.
My very first parish, I got a phone call that's out on the East Coast. One of the members said, I might have shared this here before. Bob and Mary Lou are in the front yard, and I think Bob's got a baseball bat,
Oh.
and he's yelling,
Oh,
and you need to be here. And I said, well, did you call 911?
yes.
And yes,
Good.
we did, and they're on their way, but I thought maybe you'd want to. Sure. So I
Sure.
get there, police are already there, neighbors are starting to form a ring.
Oh, I'm sure it's quite a show.
And I yell, hey, Bob, and I start walking toward him, and the police officer grabs me and says, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm their pastor. He said, okay, go.
Yeah, exactly. Fine. I'm sure he's glad to sign off
But,
to you.
you know, worked with Bob. They took Bob away. I went and visited Bob, and I got a note from Bob because I had told him what he did was wrong.
Right, yeah, Bob, you can't really.
So
do this.
Bob got a note to me that said, judge not, lest ye be judged.
Oh, really?
So I'm thinking,
What?
you know, I'm not judging Bob. I'm proclaiming what God says is you know, appropriate behavior as a husband, as a human.
Right. And even as apart from being a Christian, it's just not good.
It's just not
To
no,
do this.
As a human
No.
being, we don't
Right.
do those things.
Yeah.
And it's he took it as you can never point out anybody's faults because that makes it judgmental.
Right. Even though you haven't been out in
Yeah.
the front yard with a baseball bat
Right.
and gotten arrested, I
Yeah.
presume, and all that. Yeah.
And really, if you know, as you read it, you read the second half of this, Jesus doesn't say that you don't point out a problem.
But take
care of yourself first.
And then you can say you've got this little tiny speck here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And my reason for removing the speck is not to drill you.
no.
I'm not trying to defeat you. I'm trying to assist you.
Right.
It's out of a Christian care and concern that I speak the truth in love,
Right.
so that you can have a more enjoyable life.
And because, the relief when I got that out of my own eye.
Yes.
And, you know, friend, I think you're suffering from what I just
Yeah.
experienced
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Let me help you. It's not let me, I found something wrong with you. Do you know what? It feels so much better when you don't have that in you. I just got it out. Oh, let me help.
Yeah. And since I'm the chief of sinners,
Yeah.
I know about relief.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's maybe a practice motion by now. I'm pretty good at this now.
Yeah.
You know, I used to wear contacts. After a while, I got pretty good at taking them out. You know, I felt so good. Get rid of these. They're old school, you know, hard things. And, you look like you're suffering from that also. Here, let me help you.
Let me get it.
Get those out of there.
Doesn't
So-
it feel better?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't mean that that's the one time forever and ever. You know, we're in a dust storm of things that fly into our eyes and
Yeah.
squint our way through,
Yeah.
and I think in our squinting, because something's in our eye, we bump into each other.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
step on each other. Why? Well, I got this in my eye.
It might be okay to say to the person with the speck, can you help me get this log out of my eye?
Right, because at least as much as I can see with a log in my eye, you look like you're doing pretty well. Now, in God's view, we might both be about the same level of affliction. Who
Right.
knows or cares? But, you know, when you and I have something in our eye, that's a great analogy. It feels like there's a log in our eye.
Yes,
The
yeah.
center of our universe is now whatever it is that's sticking me in the eye.
The pebble in the shoe feels
Oh,
like a boulder. You know, the dust in the eye
Oh,
feels
and-
like a log.
It really does.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my whole world. So isn't it odd? He says, so take care of your own world first.
Yeah.
Usually you think, well, now you should be careful for others first. Put yourself on the back burner. Here's a case where, no, you go first.
Isn't it interesting? So we have this log,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just trying to do this visually. I've had a speck in my eye,
Okay, yeah.
right?
Sure.
I mean, literally.
Yeah, right.
Have you ever had a log, like a fireplace log, in your eye?
No. Boy, that would be bad.
But I would, and I think some of what Jesus is saying is, you know, your own faults and failures should really be evident. But isn't it amazing? We're so self-centered.
Right.
We don't even notice the log.
Right. Or we've grown so used to it
Yeah,
We've
well, there you go.
we've just gone around it and around it, and I suspect. I mean, the fact our friends looking at us, we're both wearing glasses. It must have been a journey of maybe more and more and more lenses over time and such. But we're so used to it. If we lived in an age without glasses, we'd just say, "Oh, well, that's how it is."
Yeah.
Others might say, "You can't see that." Well, no,
Yeah,
who
no.
can? Maybe others, but so we get used to that log,
Exactly.
and
Yep.
then God says,
Yep,
"You
yep.
know, let me help you with that."
I have
Oh.
I have a pterygium on my eye. It's a growth on my eye.
Wow.
And I'm having it removed. I've had it for over 50 years.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
But the eye doctor keeps asking me, doesn't that bother you?
And it
I said,
does.
no, I don't even realize that it's there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's how habitual sins can be like that.
I've always had it. If I can go back to Bob
Yeah.
and the baseball bat,
Yeah.
Bob's anger response is pretty emotional, pretty out there.
Very pronounced.
Right. And I bet maybe it's not the first time he's done something like this.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And
Very
that's-
volatile.
Yes.
And that's just the way we handle things.
right. And it's just banging
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Now,
Or-
formally.
You hear about people who grew up in abusive situations and they become abusers.
Right.
This is their learned. This is how we
Right.
handle things
Exactly.
at home,
Yes.
and we don't see that as wrong.
It-
And if someone wants to point it out,
Well, but then here's the problem. You're pointing out not just my wrong, but you're telling me that my
Oh.
mother was wrong.
Oh, yeah,
and my
yeah.
grandmother was wrong.
Yeah.
Well, how could 3 generations not be correct in
Yeah.
how they deal with, let's just say, anger
yeah,
or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, it might be accumulative.
Yeah.
Your mother did this, and your grandmother, holy moly, she was really something.
I had one. My concentration on my master's was child abuse.
Oh, okay.
Not that I was.
No.
I was very blessed to be in a great home.
Yeah.
But I remember one case study where the child's bottom was burned,
Oh, my heavens.
and
Oh.
but as they moved backwards, they found out heat was used as punishment for 3 generations.
Oh, good heavens.
Yeah, it was your hands were put in hot water, or a cigarette was put out on the bottom of your foot,
Oh.
and these are things where I remember
Crazy.
reading through this saying, who would ever think this is right?
Right. Who would even think it up?
And and if it happened to me, how could I think it's okay to do it to my own child?
Right. Right.
But this was, hey, heat becomes the manner in which we punish.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy?
It's kind of
So-
creepy. Ugh.
So there's some things that we don't even notice, even though they're huge,
Right.
that we don't even pick up on them.
No.
Or if we do, we can excuse them. Well, at least I'm not as bad as.
Those.
There you go.
Someone
Yeah.
worse. Also, as you say that, doesn't your heart go out to think of unknown to us, but yet people we see
Yeah.
who might have either suffered that as a child, still recovering, or are suffering it right now? We have no
Oh.
idea.
Yeah. Yep.
And our world hasn't necessarily
Yeah.
gotten any better.
No, and I can't remember which Christian author it was. But anyway, he talks about signature sins.
Oh,
And we all have a signature sin.
signature.
Some might be seen as more obvious.
Okay.
So the person who imbibes too much.
Or chases his wife out onto the lawn with
chases
a
his wife
baseball
out on the
bat.
lawn.
Yeah.
But, for others, it's minor anger issues, or
Okay.
it's pride.
Oh, that's an easy one to kind of hide.
It is. But
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that he said we all have at least one signature sin
Yes.
that we don't necessarily recognize, or if we do,
As.
as a problem.
Right.
Yeah. But if
Right.
we do, it's not as bad as.
Oh, I could find somebody who's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be a binge drinker, but at least I'm not drunk every night.
Right. I lost my job, or
There you go.
Yeah.
I might look at pornography, but I'm not with another woman.
there you go. Right.
Those kinds of things.
I might drive too fast, but only on an empty road.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So okay, signature. And again, it is though it's a log, to us it's the tiniest speck.
Yeah. It really
Why? How
doesn't
do you
make
even
it
notice that?
doesn't really matter.
Right, right. And if someone would point it out, then I'm sure what we're going to do is, yeah, but what about you?
Yeah, there you go.
Because if your statement is true, we all have a signature sin.
Yeah.
Well, then,
What's
like
yours?
Bob is going to say, well, you can't judge.
Yeah.
Because you got one too.
That's it. You're Pharisaical.
Oh.
You're judgmental.
And then, isn't that the great interest? The friends of Job, or John chapter 9, the young man born blind.
Yeah. Who
What-
sinned here as
Exactly.
parents.
What did you do? You must
Yeah.
have done something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so sometimes we might not see the sin, but we see an outcome
Yeah.
that we assume has to be that sin at work.
You know, and Zechariah and Elizabeth had
Yes.
no kids, and in
Right.
first century Judaism, people
good.
saw that as God saying, "You're not a good person."
And even though you're a priest,
Yeah.
good heavens.
And you know, I was just listening to someone over Christmas, and they said, you know, when you read through the Zechariah and Elizabeth, the writer specifically says, and they were righteous people.
That's right.
They were good and upright people.
people.
Yeah.
It just had been this sorrow
They were blameless
all
people.
this
Yeah.
all this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not because,
Mhm.
you know, well, it's Jesus with who was born. Why was he born blind? Did he sin? Did his parents
Right.
sin? And what does Jesus say? No, this is
But this
God's going to be glorified.
Right,
Just
that's
wait
it. The
till
work
you
of-
see.
right. The
Yeah.
work of God might be displayed in
Yep,
him.
yep.
Right. Or the prelude to that, the previous chapter, the woman caught in adultery.
Yes. Yep.
Now we know what the wrong was. The question there is, what should we do about it?
Yep. Yep.
Now the other one, it's, well, we know what God did, we presume. He was born blind. I wonder, though, what the sin was. It's an interesting crisscross with those two chapters side by side.
Isn't it?
Yeah. One is, we know the sin, well, what's the outcome?
Yep.
The other is, well, we know the outcome. Boy,
What's
what did
the
they
sin?
sin?
Yeah.
We want to know both.
We do.
We really do. I mean, the friends of Job, they're comforting him, but I think they're with him all those days saying, I got to know. You got it. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it got to be a competition between the three. Who's going to figure it out
Yeah.
first?
And also a comfort because, you know, I got some problems.
Yeah.
But if we have that sin begets punishment.
Yeah.
And you can go backwards. Punishment denotes the sin.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm not Job, so I must be pretty good.
Yeah.
I got to be better than this guy.
Yeah.
And he used to be a kind of a poster child for righteousness. Well, look at this.
Yeah.
So I must really be doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had, I think I mentioned this too. We had a lady who had cancer, and she was just an amazing, strong
Oh,
Christian,
that's wonderful.
55 years old.
Oh, too young.
And she was more worried about her husband.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I went in to see her, and she was just sobbing. She and her husband. I thought, doctor
Oh, no.
must have been here.
Right. Bad news.
And I said, talk to me. What's up? What can we pray about?
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know why it's bothering me. I know it's not right. But friends from our last church drove all the way out to see us.
Okay.
And she asked me, could you look back and figure out what it was you did that God
Oh,
would do this to
heavenly
you?
days.
And she said, that's not my God. And I said, no, it's not.
No, Psalm
And she said,
103,
I know,
no.
but why is this bothering me? I said, because it hurts.
Especially given that this was a friend
Yeah.
that you expected would give you hope and consoling.
Christian.
You're right.
Yeah.
And we talk about, if nothing else, talk about heaven. Won't it be
That's
good?
it. Yeah.
Oh, my good. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I'll give you the opposite. I heard the story. Maybe I heard that. Was it one of your sermons? Well, anyway, this
You
woman.
would be the only person that actually listened.
No. I'm the world's worst listener. I'll tell you a story about that. Anyway, but maybe it was, though, your sermon. Anyway, this woman who had every affliction known to man. You know, she was ill, she's an older woman. And if you came up to her, let's say it's Martha. Martha, how are you doing? She says, there's nothing going on wrong that won't be fixed in the resurrection.
There you go.
Isn't that, did you?
That's beautiful.
I think
No.
you did that one.
Did I?
I think so.
I don't know. I
But
don't
it is
even
good.
listen to me.
Well, I know. And you and
Yeah,
I have used one or
isn't it?
two stories in our life. Who knows? But it's a great thing
It is.
to say, oh, you know what? And I've got the answer.
It'll be fine.
I've got a cure.
It'll be-
Not I do, but the
Yeah.
resurrection.
Yeah.
And while waiting for the resurrection, I'm going to be in heaven.
Yeah.
And as sort of a transition from this body that is so
And then-
frail, we'll bury that.
Yeah.
I'll go to heaven, and then we'll bring him back.
And I'll be healthier than you.
Exactly. And I'll get there before you do.
Yeah, I'll save you a place.
Don't you kind of wish you were there first, you know? Oh, no, that's not a bad
No,
that's not a bad
it
thing.
isn't. It isn't.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm a bad listener. I am a bad listener. I really am. I'm a terrible listener. And I was at a district, is Indiana district. And I don't know why. I think we had some reason for, the university to send me there. And I was on, and the district president, May.
Oh, yeah. Great guy.
Yeah, wonderful. He was the preacher. He was good.
Yeah.
And it was maybe a 10, 12-minute sermon. It was, a
perfect
conference
for
is
a
smaller.
conference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
People are saying that would be perfect for a Sunday.
they'd be saying it'd be perfect for our podcast, too. You boys could shrink this down by 2/3. But anyway, as I'm going on, I've never met him. I don't know him. He doesn't know me from Adam. I shook his hand. I said, that was a great sermon. I listened to every word. And he looked at me like, uh-huh. I said, no, you don't understand how rare that is. And again, I listened to every word. Okay. Well, anyway.
I preached at a pastor's conference, and one of the guys came up to me and said, that was so good that every time I woke up, I felt guilty.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. A pastor's conference is not an easy place to preach.
No, it isn't, because all you got is a bunch of critics.
Or, how about this one? I preached up in North Wisconsin, opening devotion, the message. Guess who's on the stage with me and speaks after me?
Ozzy Hoffman?
No, Dale Meyer.
Oh.
Come on. Dale's the best in the Senate.
Yeah, he's okay.
And he was so nice. I thought, oh, Dale, I'm nothing, But he was, thank you, Brother Dan, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, you're a good man, Dale.
On the other hand, a different pastor's conference, I did a presentation.
Okay.
And then, I shouldn't mention his name, but a professor from...
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Fort
From
Wayne.
an esteemed place. Okay.
Yeah, put his material on the lectern and said, okay, now for a more intelligent discussion.
Oh, heavenly days. Let's be charitable and said he meant it as a joke.
Yeah, sure
Let's
he did.
go with that. We'll go with that. Oh, well. So judge not, lest you be judged.
Yep.
There's a measure of that to this story.
I remember I had to talk to someone that was a member of the congregation that I had to confront.
Okay.
With sin and called him in the office. I went in the church, and for half an hour, I just prayed a repentant prayer.
Right. Yeah.
Lord, I don't deserve to be in the ministry.
Don't want this meeting conflict. No.
I'm a sinner.
Right.
I need forgiveness. I just help me through this.
Right. Yeah. And how did it turn out?
Good.
It
worked out, better than what I anticipated.
Prayer is a good thing.
But prayer is a great thing.
Whether it's changing the outcome or preparing ourselves.
Yeah.
One or the other.
It still wasn't easy.
No. But it reminds me, I'm not doing this alone.
Right. Yep.
That's enough in some ways.
Right.
I'm not alone.
Not doing it for me. I'm doing it for that person.
No. Yeah, I would avoid this like the plague if I could, but I've got to step into, and we always have those. That phone call you've got to make.
Yeah.
That meeting. That the person you're going to meet, and you can't just move on real quick. No. In fact, we've all seen this a million times. Somebody who lingers back and back and back and lets everyone else go before them, and is the last person, and they arrange that to shake your hand. That might not because they're going to say that's the best sermon I've ever heard in my life.
No. I want plenty of time.
Right, and you can't run out the door with the second to last person.
No.
And then say, so Edna, tell me, really, how has life been going for you? You can't do that. You got to stay. But anyway, here is, I think the overall idea is, let me help after either I or someone else has helped me. How am I going to get that log out of my own eye?
Yeah.
He says, take it out. But the consequence is I can then say to someone, let me help you with the speck.
Yeah.
Can I take that log out myself, or are we a long chain of helping?
No, I like that.
The latter one.
I like that.
I kind of think so.
Yeah, because we're always imperfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not there.
Right.
We're not there yet.
And even if it's not somebody deliberately saying, look, I see you got a problem. Let me help you with that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Maybe it's just the, it's observing someone who seems to have new eyesight.
Yeah.
Or less of a obstructive distance between
There you
himself and others.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can come.
Yeah, and to be able to, since we're on a wood theme,
Yeah.
to see others through the wood of the cross. That's the only beam that we should be
That's it.
looking at.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. And there on the cross, every log of every person is piled onto him.
Yep.
We last time talked about the irrationality of the gospel.
Yeah.
And here's another one. You and I cannot hardly bear the speck of one sin. How did he ever
Yeah.
carry and survive 6 hours of carrying the sins of the world?
Yep. Yeah.
And we can quibble on the immensity and the timing, but still.
We focus on the physical agony,
Yeah.
which, my goodness.
Oh, heavens.
But the spiritual,
To be forsaken.
by everything, everyone, including the Heavenly Father,
Yes.
who loves you.
Right. But in that moment,
Yeah.
lets you go.
Yeah. There's people on the face of the earth, if they said to me, I'm forsaking you, I will never speak to you again. And I might say, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
fine.
good. I'm good. But if my father said it,
Oh.
my heart would be just
Which
crushed.
is terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we've been blessed to have fathers, you're still alive,
Yeah.
mine is past, who will not forget us.
Right.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
And even if at some point of illness, they don't recognize our presence there.
Yeah.
I think my dad knew us right to the end. We know him, and we know that who
Yep.
they are.
Yep.
But for God to say in some way,
Yeah.
we're done.
Yep.
I have a forsaken falling. I always feel it to be like, because I hate falling. I hate heights, and just that would be that. That's what you shout as you're going down. Why have you forsaken me?
Yeah.
But he endured it for us, so that at the end he could say, into your hands I commend my spirit.
Yeah.
Falling is over. Now you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got you. And
Yeah.
and to me, that's the agony.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I deserve.
Right. But he took it in place. So this text reminds us, don't imagine that your entry to heaven is by your own personal speck or log clearing.
Yeah.
Lest we be Pharisees and say, how much do I have to remove to get into heaven?
There you go.
It's good to remove the logs and the specks, but you're only going to be saved because someone took all of it.
Because the speckless, logless is the one who did it for us.
Right, exactly.
And I think, we were talking about, man, this last verse, don't throw the pearls bit. And is it, let me ask you this.
Okay, what are we going to do with
Theology
this?
professor.
Oh, heavens.
Is it Jesus saying, do I really want to waste a good chunk of forgiveness on you people who don't deserve it?
Yeah. And also I was thinking, he's not to the end, but the sermon is coming to an end.
Yes. Yep.
And I thought, is there a sort of a contextual? Now, I know that some of what I've said to you is going to create questions. And I know that some of you could stay here all day, debate and question and push this aside.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you, I'm not doing that. Because it would be like taking these pearls and throwing out to be trampled on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have these teachings. These are pearls.
Yeah.
If you want to stay and debate and argue, we're closing the book.
Yeah.
And I'm moving on.
Have you noticed, maybe as a professor too, but as a parish pastor, if someone says, I need to come in and talk to you,
Yeah.
you're going to get one of two things.
Okay.
You're going to get someone to come in and say, Pastor, I have some questions.
Okay. Sure.
Why are we doing this?
Right.
Or why are we doing
Right.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you're going to have, all right, pal.
What in the world?
What's going on here? I was here when you got here. I'll be here when you're gone.
Which is true.
I want to know what's going on in between.
Right. Exactly. Oh, that there is that.
There
There's
so,
going to be that
and I think for
debate.
Jesus, there were those who did the, hey, Jesus, tell me more about
Oh,
this.
of course.
Nicodemus,
He wants to know.
he wants to know.
So he comes in the dark of the night. He's a little frightened, but at least he's
then,
asking.
And then there's the other ones
Yeah.
who are like, oh, who do you think
Who
you
do
are?
you think you are?
You're not even 50 before Abraham.
Oh, absolutely. Or you eat with sinners and tax collectors. Well, that disqualifies you right away.
Yep.
You're gone.
Yep.
Yeah. And so maybe there's a point to say, all right, I've said what I've said. I'm not changing what I've said. If you can't understand or grasp it, we know it's a function of the Holy Spirit, or your refusal, which is innate in all of us, to hear that, and then say, all right, pack up. But you can be done.
Sure.
Right. And you don't have to change the pearl into something less.
Oh, gosh, no.
No. But also, don't deliberately set that pearl up to be squished.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go.
Jesus says, I'm going to give you an opportunity to hear, right? But I got 3 years.
That's another point.
I'm moving on.
Yes. Because simply arguing with you, headstrong, crossed, I don't know if they crossed their arms in the first century, but it's a good look.
It is.
No. All right. You know what? There are crowds waiting to be taught.
Yep.
I'm going to have thousands of people who will go all day with no food just to listen to me. I got no time to stay here with you. I got places to go. And that's a little bit, that's ministry.
I think so.
To keep on going.
Yeah.
If someone refuses, then you say, all right. All right.
Knock the dust off your feet.
Exactly. I'm sorry to hear that, but I want to go. Years and years ago, visited a gentleman who was not in church. I mean, never. Still listed on the books, though. And so I visited, and always through the screen door. I never got further than the screen door. And after, I don't know, the third or fourth visit, and they weren't real long, given that we were talking through the screen door, he said, all right, let me get this straight. I said, okay. We finally arrived at a moment here. So he was still listening. So you're saying if I stay as a member, you expect me to come to church? I thought, yeah. Okay. I thought, well, I think that's about as straightforward as it can get. Yep. I said, yeah. He said, that's never going to happen. Just take me off.
Oh, my.
I was kind of sad. But it wasn't like I just sent a letter. It was like, we have talked through this screen door over. I thought the screen door was especially kind of symbolic of that. I should have seen it coming, you might say. But I was always hoping, is the screen door, is it half closed or half open? Being that it's a screen, which
You're an
one
optimist.
Is it? Well, and in the end, it was more closed. It was a door.
Oh.
Yeah, more. But anyway, so at some point you'll say, all right, I'll keep going to visit somebody else.
Yep.
Given the time that you have.
There's other towns and villages.
There are other places. Yep. And there where they might actually open the screen door for you. I've never, that was the only one in all those years.
Really?
Where you can't get any further than that. I've had all kinds of adventures. You have too. Visiting in homes. Lots of things that are, there you go. Okay. All right, that's all good. So I think you did great on that verse 6, and people should be relieved that we didn't just jump right over it, which I was kind of inclined to do.
Well, I was thinking too.
Yeah, there we go. But now look, let's just give them a prelude for next time.
Yeah.
And that is the verses we really like. Ask, seek, knock. Tell me what I'm going to get.
You're going to get all this stuff.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Just let me ask. God, I hope you've got a long list ready. I'm filling it out for
like
you.
Santa. I'm going to sit on God's lap and tell him, turn the Ford Fusion into a Lamborghini.
Exactly. And that beautiful Mustang, make it a 2025 model or something.
And make sure it's got a little more horsepower.
A little more oomph. Yeah, exactly. So you can dust off those Corvettes or whatever's out there. One would hope.
Or at least the old Dodge Dart that I come across every once in a while.
You can beat that. So anyway, those are waiting for us. Warm up our prayers because he certainly invites us to ask and to seek and to knock.
Yep. Good, strong ending.
That's it.
It's coming.
Okay, it's all good. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
God bless, and see you in church.
Yeah.